it's not easy. It's not easy putting the most vulnerable part of you out there, getting critical comments every single week and every day sometimes. And sometimes it's like, I just wanted to help people. Like, I didn't do this for attention. I didn't do this for validation. Like, I truly just wanted to say, if you feel like me, this is possible for you too.
Welcome to the Rock Bottom Podcast, presented by Jigsaw Health, where we share health horror stories that inspire. Today's guest spent years struggling with her weight before reaching a moment that pushed her to take control of her health. What started as a personal journey to feel better has turned into a powerful story of transformation and inspiration.
Before we dive in, just a quick note. This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for medical advice. So please always consult with a healthcare professional before making any changes to your daily health routine.
So let's get into it. This is the Rock Bottom Podcast. Leah Hope, we are so excited to have you today. Thank you for joining us on the Rock Bottom Podcast. Your story is fascinating.
Thank you so much for having me and giving me the opportunity to share my message.
Patrick, I know you had the first question for Leah today.
Leah, you have a video on your Instagram that has 71 million views.
Yes.
It has 2.5 million. Yeah. It has 2.5 million likes, which to me, I'm like, why aren't there 71 million views? We're going to roll that in the edit so that the audience can get a sense of that video and your inspiring journey.
The context for our talk today.
Yes, yeah.
So for those that are listening to audio only, this shows really an amazing transformation. Can you walk us through maybe audio, what happened? And I'm really interested in why you were inspired to take action, not just to take action, but to record it. Because that's a very bold move.
Yeah. I'll start with why I decided to record it. And I'm a full-time photographer. So documenting comes naturally to me. Like, it's not just a job. I passionately believe in documenting your life every season, regardless of if it's one of your best seasons or it's not one of your best seasons. Like, it's all a part of your story. And I think that's so important. And so documenting for me, I did not document with the plan to share it online. I documented it so that I could see the difference myself, because we are our own worst critic. And I know so many people start making changes and then they don't see the changes, and so they give up. And so I wanted to have the proof right there. So I documented for me, wasn't sure if I was ever going to share it, didn't share anything online for a year after I started my journey. But I highly recommend documenting your journey in any capacity, journaling, video, whatever that is, so that you can look back and really remember, oh, wow, like that's where it's so easy to forget.
To see how far you've come.
Yes. When you're seeing yourself day to day, it is just so easy to forget where you actually came from, where you were before, and how much change there has been. So I definitely recommend that. As far as my journey, I mean, really, should I share my rock bottom moment? Like, it's literally what I call it.
Yes, yes.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah. Yes, so my rock bottom moment was at Disneyland in March 2022. I went there with my sister's family and my nephew, who is my favorite person in the world. I have two nephews now, so they're both my favorite people in the world. But at the time, I just had one. He was my favorite person in the world. Being an aunt was the greatest joy of my life. I loved it so much then. I love it so much now. And I was almost 400 pounds at the time, and I was being the best aunt that I could be with the limits that my body had. Like, I couldn't do a lot of playing. It was hard for me to get up and down from the ground, but I loved spending time with him. And so when my sister and brother-in-law invited me to go to Disneyland with them, I did not want to miss out on this opportunity because I wanted to experience that day with him. He was 3 years old at the time. I knew it was going to be challenging at the size that I was at and the endurance, the limited endurance that I had at the time. I journaled about it the night before and wrote, like, I'm scared. This is the biggest I've ever been going to an amusement park. I'm worried, but I don't want to miss out. And it was just worse than I thought it was going to be. I got there, even just the walk down Main Street, which is, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes, not that long. Like, by the end of it, I was out of breath, exhausted. They went in line to go on Dumbo, and I grabbed a churro and sat on a bench because I was like, I'm done for a little bit. You guys go ride that ride. And in just a few hours, I had a migraine. My feet hurt. My back hurt. I was profusely sweating, and it was like maybe in the 70s. But I just got hot so easily at that size. And I spent a good portion of the day just sitting by myself while they stood in line and went on the rides. There were rides I couldn't fit on, but also even just standing in line was so taxing on my body. And I spent a few hours at the end of the day just by myself, like with my head down, eyes closed, because my migraine was so bad and I was trying to keep myself from throwing up. And we drove back to where we were staying that night, and I was just thinking, I felt so foolish for thinking that I could handle it. And I'm not someone, a lot of people who are at a bigger size or don't like the way they look are very hard on themselves and criticize themselves and speak badly to themselves. And that's not me. Like, I never did that, mostly because I just avoided it altogether, avoided thinking about it altogether. Yeah. But that was not me. Like, I am not the type of person to say, like, you're an idiot, Leah, or like, why'd you do, like, that's not me. But that night I was like, I can't believe you thought that you could do that. Like, I can't believe you thought this was going to be a good day. And the next day I just decided I can't keep living this way anymore. And so I started implementing changes immediately. And this was the first time that I started slow. Like, in the past, anytime I had tried a diet or tried to change my habits, like, it was everything at once. Like, we're doing everything on Monday. I'm throwing out everything, quote, bad, that's bad food for me or whatever. Like, I'm doing this intense workout, this intense exercise routine. Like, it was all or nothing, and it's just not sustainable. And so this was the first time that I started slow.
I think that's so many of us where we're like, I mean, how many people would make a change while you're on vacation at Disneyland? Yeah. You would always go, on Monday, here's what I'm doing. And I would be thinking about it this whole time, like, what is my game plan when I do Monday? But in the meantime, I'm going to have another churro.
Yeah. Or the first of the month. Or let's just start next year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, New Year's resolution.
Yes.
So that's very brave of you to just be like, no, I'm going to start making some changes now.
And I will say it was very simple. My first change was I told myself, like, I am going to eat one nutritious food. And I literally mean that. Like, I was living off of fast food and takeout and convenience food items and processed frozen food. And so I was like, I'm going to have a nutritious food today. And I had eggs. And that was like my nutritious food. I had eggs, I think, every day throughout my weight loss journey, my health journey. And it was just something so simple that I'm like, I can do this. They're so easy to make. You can make them in so many different ways. Mm-hmm. And I could know I am getting nutrients by eating this. Yeah. And that was like one of the first simple things that I started with. Rather than taking everything out, I was like, what can I add in that will benefit me?
Oh, that's really interesting. That insight of, I'm not taking something away, I'm giving myself something positive. It kind of flows in line with I think it's really awesome that you didn't have like this negative self-talk. So that positive self-talk, what was something else that you added in?
Yes. So I started with 2 healthy habits. That was the first one. And then the next one was movement. And I just started with 10 minutes of movement a day. And it was usually walking. Sometimes I tried like chair yoga. I tried some simple body weight strength training, and I modified for what I was able to do at the time. But walking was definitely the thing that I stuck to, that I did most often. And 10 minutes was about all I could do at the time before it was incredibly hard for me. So I would split up walking throughout the day. Like if I could only do 10 minutes at a time, then I did 10 minutes. And then a few hours later, I did 5 minutes. And then a few hours after that, I walked around my kitchen while I was waiting for something to cook in the air fryer or something. Like I just reminded myself any movement is better than no movement. We so often tell ourselves, like, if I can't do it all, I'm not going to do any of it. And that's the all or nothing mindset. And so my mindset was all or something. If I can't do the all that I planned for, I can do something. I can take a lap around the kitchen.
Yeah.
Like, and of course that's going to be better for you than doing nothing.
You call those
all or something.
You call those, I heard you call them exercise snacks.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or
I didn't coin
movement
the phrase,
snacks,
but yeah, movement snacks, because I've, struggled with the like all or nothing. It's like, if I can't go do a spin class or something, it's like, why go? But the question that is coming to me now is, for you mentally, your mindset, when you started to do these little things, getting these little wins, right? Having the eggs, doing, 10 minutes of movement. What did that do for you mentally?
I definitely didn't. I was not loving it at first.
So you didn't feel encouraged. You felt like
I didn't.
This is hard.
For the first couple weeks at least, and there was a lot of journaling, like, this is so hard. I don't know how I'm going to stick to it, but I just kept telling myself, I know this is good for me. Even if I don't feel the benefits yet, there's no way that this is not good for me.
Right.
Like,
feel or see the benefits,
yes,
right?
yeah.
So,
Well, yeah, and I felt like I didn't even see the changes outwardly until like 6 or 7 months in, which there were changes, but I just didn't see it. And so it's hard to keep going when you're not seeing or feeling the changes, but they will come if you stay consistent. And you just have to remind yourself, this is benefiting me. Like, whether or not I'm seeing the full picture yet, there's no way that I could say a 10-minute walk isn't good for me.
Right.
There's something that Joe Rogan, I saw a clip of him talking about, people look at me and they see like, oh, he's buff, he must love working out. And he goes, the truth is, I don't.
Yeah.
I just tell myself it's something that gets done.
Yeah.
And that reminds me of some of the, I can't remember, so I can't properly attribute the quote, but really discipline is way more important than inspiration. Mm-hmm. And your mindset of saying, I know this is good for me, that decision of like, I'm going to do something that I know is good for me, regardless of what results that I see or feel, because it makes sense that eating nutritious eggs is better than eating a whatever.
Processed food,
Exactly. A processed bagel bites or something like that.
Yeah.
So you stuck to it 7 months or so before you noticed the difference. But did you notice it because you looked back at your previous filming?
I probably still wouldn't have looked in the mirror 7 months later and seen a difference. I had to compare side by side photos.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until after someone else said, like, you look like you've lost weight. And I'm like, oh, really? Like, you can tell? I have, but I didn't know that you could tell. And I looked at side-by-side pictures and I asked people, like, do you think there's a difference? And I was like, oh, yeah. But that's why the journaling piece was so important to me, because even though I didn't physically see the differences until then, I did start feeling them sooner. A few weeks into my journey, a month or two, there's a journal entry that I wrote that I was like, I also didn't weigh myself. I weighed myself every 4 to 6 weeks for the first 6 months of my journey, because I knew that if I looked and I didn't see what I wanted to see, I would have stopped.
Yeah.
That's what I did every time in the past. It was like, if I'm not getting the results that I want, why would I continue? And so I just really had to focus on gaining health over losing weight. Like, that was my mental shift this time, was like, it's not just about losing weight as fast as I can in the most extreme way that I can. This is actually about gaining health. And I know that walking and eating nutritiously is me gaining health, whether or not the scale is moving. And of course, it did eventually move because the more healthy habits I added in, the more that I lost weight.
Funny how that works.
Yes.
So when you say you started to feel it, what are some of the first things that you felt different?
That's what I journaled about. I journaled about like, I can't fully tell. I was like, part of me thinks that I like moving, but part of me thinks that I don't. I do feel better after. And like, that was such an interesting thing to me because at first when I started, it was like, of course I don't feel better after. Like now my back is sore, like I'm out of breath, I'm exhausted. But then I realized the more that I was willing to expend my energy through exercise and movement, the more that I continued wanting to do that throughout the day, which is such an interesting concept to me. And this is something my brother-in-law, when we would take vacations together and like going to Disneyland, like maybe this happened on that day, and he would say things like, oh, I'm just so tired. I should have worked out this morning and I would have so much more energy right now. And I was like, no, if you worked out, you'd have less energy because you just spent your energy working out. And I didn't understand that until I started incorporating exercise and movement into my life. And I was like, oh my gosh, I am so much more willing to do more exercise, to move more, to run errands, to do all the things after having worked out that day. And that was just such a weird
It seems
idea.
counterintuitive, right?
Yeah. I'm like, if you only have so much energy and you spent it working out,
then you would have less.
yes. But it turns
But our
out
bodies
that's not
love
the
that
case.
movement, so it like fuels us even more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was just like such a cool thing to discover for myself, and then now be able to tell him like, okay, I guess I get it. I'm not sure I still want to do a full workout before a day at Disneyland, but
Right.
I
But each to
understand
their
it. Yeah.
So the journey has been how many years in the making?
It's been a little over 3 years since I started. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that.
Where did you feel like you hit a new plateau? Because in the video that we showed earlier, there's like a certain point where there's like a dramatic change that you introduce into the video. Where was that point in the journey that you felt like, okay, this is actually working? Like it's not just working, but I'm like finally reaching that goal that I've always wanted to start to hit.
Yeah. It's interesting to think about. And I will say, I personally, people ask me like, what's your goal weight? And I said, I don't have one. I have a goal feeling. And so like, I'll only know that when I get there. And I really did not have a goal weight. And I never had I want to lose this much weight by this amount of time, because it wasn't about that. It wasn't like I was trying to like fit in this dress for an event or something. Like,
Just want to feel good.
Yes. And it was about changing my life. I accepted this is not a temporary diet until I reach my goal. This is a lifestyle change. Yeah. This is my new life. And so I would say maybe about a year in, but even still then, I struggled to see it. My very first posts that I liked when I decided to start sharing online about my journey, I was terrified to post them. And I had lost a little over 100 pounds by then. So the transformation that I was showing was a 100-pound loss. And I was so scared to press publish because I was like, people aren't going to notice a difference. Like I still struggled to see it. And so again, that is why it's so important to tune into how you're feeling more than like the physical results of anything, because that's going to tell you so much more, and that's going to give you so much more.
When you hit publish on the post, how many views did that post get?
So my first one was on TikTok, and I think it got like, I think it might be around 60,000 views, or like got that close to that time. And I replied to every single comment, and I was like, this is who I'm going to be. I'm going to be the person that replies to every single comment. It's not as possible now.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that was my intention. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's so inspirational. People love to see those raw, real stories, because then they can relate and it helps to encourage them. And some of the things that you were dropping right now on like, I don't have a goal weight, I have a goal feeling, those things are super powerful.
And I think it's things that people probably don't think about. There's just so much out there about you have to do this and you need to pick a weight and you need to like, and I just think there is just no one size fits all to changing your life, to getting healthier, to finding routines and habits that work for you. And it takes some experimenting. And it took me experimenting to find what type of exercise I enjoyed. Like I thought that I would never enjoy movement. Like I just told myself, I'm going to have to suffer through this through the rest of my life if I want to be healthy. And it just took some experimenting for me to be like, oh, I actually do like taking walks and I do like hiking. And then I discovered pickleball and I was like,
this is fun.
yes. I was like, I can't believe that this is exercise that doesn't feel like exercise. And that was just like the best gift.
How often do you play pickleball right now?
Well, right now I'm recovering from
okay.
from some loose skin removal surgeries, so I'm not doing activities like that right now. I do not play as much as I would like to. So even before this, because I'm still too scared to just go and like put my paddle in at a public place. So I'm like, I gotta find my 3 friends
and come to the orchard.
Yes, yeah, that is what I need to do.
I'd love, if you're okay with it, to talk a little bit about like your childhood and what your relationship with food was and your home and like just in your life and kind of how that developed over the years.
Yeah, so I started gaining some more weight around 6 years old. When I was 6, and it's when my brother was born. So I was no longer, I love him. And me and my older sister both, like we adored him and took care of all the things. But I was no longer the baby anymore. And so I think that was the subtle shift of like, oh, I'm not the one getting all the attention. And so maybe started turning a little more towards food. Mm-hmm. It's interesting because when I look at pictures, so I would say like 6 years old to 14, I was slowly gaining weight. I was chubby. But now when I look back at pictures, I'm like, this is so crazy to me that I like identified myself as chubby. But it wasn't just me. Like kids called me that. I have at least, it's not like crazy, but I have at least 5 memories from like age 9 to 14 where I was made fun of for my size. And I look at those pictures now and I'm like, I just totally look like a regular,
like a healthy child,
yes,
right?
Yeah. So it wasn't really until I did start gaining a little more weight after that. Like it just was a slow gain from that time at 6 years old. And then it was really when I could start driving, when I turned 16 and I could drive and I had the freedom of going to fast food whenever I wanted and going to Walgreens to pick up a bunch of crap. And there was just like this sense of control that I was like, I can buy whatever I want and I can eat whatever I want. And then from that, so like age 16 to 18, by the time I graduated high school, I had gained 100 pounds since then, just going to...
Just enjoying your freedom.
Yes, yeah.
So what kind of food did you have in the home? Like what kind of...
So actually growing up, we were not the standard American diet at all. Like we didn't have like Doritos and Cheetos, didn't have soda, that was not, we actually grew up with what a lot of people would consider as healthier options. But I guess too much of anything maybe isn't, and healthy is subjective. Like at the time I thought like, oh, these, quote Cheetos from this health food store are so much better for you. Yeah. But it's still, if you have too much of those, it's not gonna, of course, be beneficial for you.
I was just thinking maybe in your mind, if you only had healthy options at home once you're able to drive, and you're like, let's go have some more fun foods. I can get whatever I want. You know, it's kind of like a, one of those rebellion type of things.
And it could be that it wasn't like overly healthy, but there definitely was recognizing like, oh, I'm at a party and there are these things that I don't normally have the option of having. Right. And so, that could absolutely play a part in it. I would be, no. I was going to say, I don't want to say the word rebellious, but then part of me wanted to say, I want to be rebellious and reject the word rebellion. And I was like, well, never mind.
That must be the signal.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Self-awareness.
So once you started gaining, you said 100 pounds by the time you graduated high school. was that just kind of your new normal and what you did? And
Yeah.
did you think about it? Were you concerned? Were you like, maybe this isn't so healthy? Or well, take us back to your thought
Yeah.
process back then.
At that time, I wasn't really concerned for my health, and I don't think I felt bad, or at least noticed that I felt bad. Really, I was just concerned that no boys liked me. that
Yeah,
was
right.
that was like the only acknowledgement of my size was like, oh man, like no one that I have a crush on has a crush on me, and that's really the only. I didn't really think about health.
But that's such a big deal when you're that age,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You're like,
Yes.
want to be liked.
Yeah, yeah,
And accepted.
yeah, absolutely.
And I'm sure that like the kids that made fun of you or teased you really had a big influence on your mental status. And like, you know, it sounds like you were pretty emotional about like your
Yeah.
food choices too. You're like, well, this makes me feel happy, at least in the moment.
Yes. It's so funny. I had an accountability partner throughout this journey, and we checked in with each other like every day, I think, for the first year. And it was so helpful. And she would bring up, like, I think she would say things about me emotional eating. And I'm like, I'm not an emotional eater, because I just thought of it as like, oh, when I'm sad, I'm going to eat. And I wasn't really sad. I like to say that even at my biggest size, like I was happy. I was as happy as I could have been with the limits that my body and my endurance had at the time. But so when you think of emotional eating, I feel like you think of it as like, oh, I'm sad, so I'm going to eat. But happiness and joy is an emotion too. And so that's what I got from food. It was like I woke up in the day and I'm like, I'm going to go to Starbucks for breakfast, and then I'm going to go to In-N-Out for lunch, and then I'm going to have this. And that was like where I found my joy.
It was like your dopamine hit.
Yes, yeah. And I was like, oh, that is emotional eating. Like I'm relying on it to bring me joy,
Right.
which is an emotion.
Yeah.
That is so eye-opening. I've never thought of it before, and I'll bet our audience has never really thought of it. Because, yes, you're right.
Yeah.
It's the generic, oh, I'm sad because I eat, but I eat because I'm sad.
Yeah.
Like that kind of movie
Yeah. Sad is
joke.
not the only emotion.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. And, yes, we know that food certainly creates chemicals in our
Yeah.
bodies, hormones, and, ask either of us if we get hangry. Yes,
Yeah.
the answer is correct. So,
I always have a beef stick in my purse at all
that's
times.
right. She ain't kidding. If you need one right now, she's got it.
I'm not there yet. I
Okay.
actually I don't think I've gotten hangry. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
well, and someone might be like, well, yeah, you were always eating. But even now, like how when I would take trips with my sister and brother-in-law, they both get it a little bit more. And I'm like, I could go another few hours. Like, I'm good. I don't know. Like, it's so interesting how we all have different reactions to
Yes.
that. Yeah.
So one of the questions we like to ask all
Yes.
of our guests to kind of quantify things is you talked about your rock bottom story at
Yeah.
Disneyland of, all places. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best, 1 being the worst, where do you feel like you were at that rock bottom moment? What number would you put on it?
Like physically or
No, just like
emotionally,
mentally,
everything?
yeah, sort of
Everything.
everything together. The end of that
Yeah.
day, you described like the migraines and the,
Yeah.
sweating and just like, this
Yes.
sucks.
At the end of that day, I would say I was probably at a 2, including like mental, emotional. And I mean, I had to be there in order to make a change. I don't think I had ever gotten that low before. And if you would have asked me, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how I feel before that day, if someone just asked me that, how I feel on a daily basis, I probably would have said 8 or 9. And I just didn't realize how bad I felt because it was just my normal. Like it was just what was familiar to me. Because now looking back, I would say probably daily I was about a 4
Yeah.
then, just day to day. But at the time, I really would have been like, oh, I'm an 8 or 9. Like I'm good. I seem fine. And it wasn't until I started getting healthier that I was like, oh, I don't have headaches anymore. And I'm like, oh, wait, I had headaches every day. Or like
Right.
I would write down my symptoms. When I first started this journey, I had a food journal before I started tracking calories. And with that, I would write like headache or gut issues or something like that. And it wasn't until a few weeks in that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not writing symptoms anymore. And it was just a weird thing to realize that I was so used to not feeling good, but since it was my normal, I thought I felt fine.
That's the tricky thing for us all on our own journeys, is that our normal is all, it's kind of like you don't know what you don't know. And it's like the slow boil, the frog, it's like you don't realize how hot the water's getting because you're in it every day. So
Wait,
that's
tell me
why
about
that
this
journal.
frog.
Oh, you don't know this analogy?
I'm like, wait, are you boiling a frog?
No, or boiling a lobster. So the analogy is, for those who don't know, everyone knows except Leah. But you boil a frog by putting them into a pot that has lukewarm water or just regular room temperature water, and then you slowly boil it because they won't know. Like if you put them into a pan that's boiling, they'll jump out because like, oh, that's too hot.
Okay.
But if you just slowly let it boil, same thing with like lobsters. That's how you boil a frog.
No, I haven't heard that.
No, I have not done this. I have not boiled any frogs.
Oh, no. I've done it plenty. Yeah.
He's expert.
I got one boiling in the back right now. Cooking up lunch.
Just for fun. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, no, that is a good analogy.
Yeah.
And so that's why keeping the journal is very important. And hey, you do not have to share it with anyone, but write down how you're feeling, write down your progress, and look back, because that's really the encouragement that you get out of it.
That was the question I was going to ask. How often did you look back on your journal?
I would say pretty often. Maybe once a month. I guess pretty often is different to everyone because some people never look back. But it was so helpful to look back and see something that I wrote that I was scared about trying or saying, like, I hate walking. I can't believe I have to do this for the rest of my life. And then seeing like, oh, I felt so good on my walk today, or like I didn't get to take a long walk today, and that made me, I wish it could have been longer or something. And it was just so interesting to see that change and really to become like, it has absolutely been an identity shift. Yeah. And part of me didn't want that. I was like, no, I want to change my habits. I want to get healthier, but like I want to be who I am. And I still am who I am, but I would have said I will never be someone who enjoys walking or who enjoys exercise. Or, those people who take the stairs instead of the elevator, they're so annoying. And I'm like one of them now. And it's so weird. Like I never thought that I would be that person. And like it really has been an identity shift, which I think is the difference when you're doing a diet or you're doing something that you're telling yourself like, oh, I'm just going to do this until I feel better or until I lose this amount of weight. And then you want to go back to the way you were living before. But if you are actually making changes for a lifestyle, like your identity will shift, and it has to.
I'm curious how many commenters have shared with you either in DMs or emails or however they reach out that have said, you've inspired me, or like, can you coach me?
Yeah. So many people have said that, and that's really I feel like I'm going to cry. Like, that's the reason that I decided to start sharing online at all, because it's not easy. It's not easy putting the most vulnerable part of you out there, getting critical comments every single week and every day sometimes. And sometimes it's like, I just wanted to help people. Like, I didn't do this for attention. I didn't do this for validation. Like, I truly just wanted to say, like, if you feel like me, this is possible for you too. Because I didn't know it was possible for me until I did it. And so I just want other people to know that it's possible for them too. And so the people who tell me that I've inspired them, it just makes it all worth it. It makes putting myself out there, being vulnerable, getting the critical comments, it makes it so worth it. And I went back to Disneyland a year and a half later, a little more than a year and a half later, 190 pounds lighter. And I had 3 people come up to me and say that they follow me online. And someone said I inspired them to start walking again. And I was just like, this makes it all worth it.
That's beautiful.
I have goosebumps.
That's part of the reason we started this podcast that is the reason also. So people can share their human stories, things that they have learned and been through that can maybe help someone else.
Yeah.
Right. I did have a question to go back to. You said calorie tracking. Did you did start calorie counting at some point?
Yes, I did. About 6 weeks in. So that was the first time I weighed myself after I started my journey, and I lost 5 pounds, which is great. Losing 5 pounds in 6 weeks is wonderful, healthy weight loss. But when you feel like you're doing so much more, like when I thought I was going to see like a 10-pound loss, like I thought it was going to be.
Because you were working so hard.
Yes. And even though I did start small, even though it was manageable and sustainable, it was still a drastic change from how I was living before. And so I did feel discouraged seeing that 5-pound loss. And again, I talked myself through it in my journal, like, no, that's good. What matters is that I'm changing my habits. What matters is that I'm making progress of any kind, no matter how slow. But I decided, like, I just want a little more control over my results, but also awareness. So before, in those first 6 weeks, I was writing in a food journal, just writing down what I was eating. I just wanted to be more mindful. And like I said, I did not immediately cut anything out. I didn't throw everything away. So like my food journal will say like eggs and kiwi, and then it will say like potato chips and onion dip. Like, cause I kept eating the stuff that I already had with me while I was like transitioning in more healthy things. And then I decided to start tracking calories just to be aware. Like it felt more like education than restriction to me. I wanted to understand, like, oh, that much butter is this amount of calories. And I don't think butter is bad for you. I'm sure you guys feel similar.
Agreed.
We're big fans of butter.
Okay. I know that is like demonized and stuff when
By
you're trying.
some.
Yeah, when you're trying to
Not here.
lose weight.
Butter's welcome.
Yes, yeah. But I needed to be aware of like, okay, if I'm gonna have that much butter, like that's 100 calories. And you have to be in a calorie deficit if you want to lose weight. It's like there's no way around it. So being mindful of that, just to know like, do I want to choose the 100 calories of butter, or would I rather have a 100-calorie beef stick? Like what's going to fill me up more? What's going to sustain me long? It's not that one is healthier than the other or better than the other.
Good or bad.
But you just have to say like, what's going to keep me fuller longer? What's going to make it possible to keep up with this new way of eating? Yeah.
So it's you used it more of it as an educational tool.
Yes. Yeah.
So Patrick asked you earlier what number you were at, scale of 1 to 10, when you were at Disneyland that day in your rock bottom. You said 2. What would you say you are now on a daily basis?
So, well, can I say pre-surgery? Because I'm still recovering from my loose skin removal surgery. So I'm not at like 100% where I was before. But pre-surgery, honestly, I would say I was at a 10, because even if I could be better, that's the best I've ever felt. So that's my 10.
Yeah.
Could I lose another 20 pounds? Sure. Could I spend more time strength training and build more muscle? Yeah. But at that point, I at least recognize this is the best I've ever felt in my body, the most I've been able to do, the most energetic. And so it was my 10. Now, I imagine my 10 will keep moving. I'll feel better in a year, and then my 10, it will still be my 10 because it will still be my best, but it will look different than my previous 10.
You know, one thing I'm noticing is you're really crushing it in the mindset department.
Yes.
That is what it's all about. Like, truly, you cannot change your life without changing your mind, period.
Mic drop.
No, that is 100% true.
Yeah.
And I've never thought of 10 changing, like the scale changing over time. I've always kind of had this like, well, I'm a 8 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10 because, you know, how could perfect feel like?
Yeah.
10
You
out of
want to
10.
leave room for
But
improvement.
you want to leave room for improvement, but why not just move the scale instead? I am going to adopt that. I really like that, actually.
I love it because it's your scale. Like if I were to think, could I feel as good as this person? Oh, then maybe I'm a 7 or something. But this is my scale.
Yes, correct. This is your
and
scale.
I feel the best I've ever felt.
You're like,
And
I
that's what
created the
matters.
scale.
Yeah.
I'll move it if I want to.
That's
your
right.
own scale.
No, that's very empowering. And, you know, when you get to the ideas of energy and law of attraction, it's like if I'm sort of in lack on an 8 of 10, well, now my body's in lack. But if I'm at 10 out of 10, it's like I'm feeling quote unquote perfect.
Yeah.
And granted, you're going to have some off days and whatever. But if you're like, man, I'm feeling great today, you attract that kind of energy to you.
That's so true. All of it, the mind piece, the energy, like it all plays a part in the physical too. And that was something that was interesting for me to discover. When I was at my bigger size, even though I felt like I was in denial. Well, I didn't feel like I was in denial. Now I see that I was in denial and that I was just avoiding. But I was really like proud of the fact, like, at least I take care of my emotional and my mental health. Like, that was what I constantly told myself. So I acknowledged, sure, I'm not working on my physical health, but look at all these other people not working on their emotional and mental health, and at least I'm doing that. And it wasn't until I started working on my physical health that, first of all, I realized you can't work on your physical health without also working on your mental and emotional health, but also just realizing that they're all tied together. And neglecting one will hurt them all just as much as nurturing one will help them all.
Yeah. The mind is in the body. The body is the mind.
I have a question on, you were on Drew Barrymore, you've been on Today Show. Tell us about some of the media things that have come up for you and how that came up for you during your journey.
Yeah, I mean, it's been through the viral videos, I guess. I had 2 that reached over 70 million. Recently, I have 1 that's over 90 million, which is just scary, honestly.
Pause. Note to the producer, insert the 90 million view. I must not have seen that one because I want to see
that
it.
one, it's not pinned.
Describe it. Okay.
It's recent-ish.
Yeah.
And it's showing my loose skin surgery results.
Oh, wow.
So it's showing the loose skin that I had on my stomach.
Well, you lost 190 pounds
in total it's
18
been
months, right?
Yeah.
So that's a whole person. That's a lot of skin
Yeah.
that is there.
Right.
So yeah, maybe walk us through that a little bit more. And want to know how you got on Good Morning America.
Yes, I will.
So.
But yeah, so I've
Two-parter.
lost a total of 215 pounds.
Yeah.
And so I weigh less than I've lost.
Wow.
I've lost more than half my body weight, and loose skin is inevitable with that. And it's something that people probably don't think about. Honestly, I didn't think about it. And that's okay. I get asked all the time, like, what are you doing about the loose skin? I want to lose weight, but I'm so scared about the loose skin. I get comments that say I'd rather stay fat. Like, when I show videos of my loose skin, they're like, like, I'll be fat. I don't want that loose skin. And I'm like, the loose skin is not affecting it's not affecting my energy. It's not affecting my endurance. It's not affecting my overall health. Yeah. It's inconvenient. It holds me back in some ways when I'm trying to do certain activities. I want to experience life without it, which is why I'm having these surgeries. But I much prefer the loose skin over the extra weight.
And your body does too, probably.
Yes, absolutely. My life is drastically different. Even with I maintained my weight for almost a year and a half with the loose skin, and I was fine with that. Like, that was such a bigger, better, fuller life, even with the loose skin. So yes, it's definitely worth it to get healthier and to lose weight, even if you can't afford to get the loose skin removed. But yeah, so some media found me through viral videos. The Drew Barrymore show was just like a very short styling segment, like styling me in my new body. And it was interesting. Like, it was an interesting experience. It wasn't what I expected it to be like, but I'm glad I got to experience it. It was fun. And then I've been interviewed by Good Morning America, People, Women's Health. I think those are some of the more notable ones. And it's just, I'm grateful for any opportunity to share my story and to share my message. And I'm guessing that I'm sought out to share that specifically because of the weight loss medications that are so popular right now. And I opted out of those and decided that I did not want that to be a part of my journey. And I will be the first to say, like, everyone has to decide what is best and healthiest for them. I decided that I wanted to go a natural route. And so I think that must be, because people lose weight all the time, like tons of people lose weight. There's no reason specifically why these media outlets are like, oh, we're going to pick you to share your story, other than that most of what you see right now is about the medications or weight loss surgery. And I do believe that those can be tools for people to get started on their journeys. It just wasn't the tool that I wanted to use.
It may be, I think, because you documented it and the transformation that people get to witness. And you were really vulnerable in the videos about even showing some tears and like, this is hard, but I think that could be an inspiration for others to, like, no matter where you're at right now, start recording.
Yes. And for people to know, like, I think people think that recording or taking pictures, we just think of it as like, oh, this is for posting. But it's like, no.
It's for you.
This is only recent that we share everything online.
Right.
We still took pictures in the 70s and 80s and 90s, like before there was social media. We do that for us, for the memories, to be able to look back. And that includes, yes, I get people making fun of me for recording myself crying. And I'm like, if I'm going to record the good parts, why would I would be doing a disservice to myself to not remember the difficult parts and the challenging parts that helped me have that growth.
You mentioned that you have critics.
Yes.
What do those critics say?
Oh, a lot. I mean, I get the comments that are like, you're still fat. So that happens too. And I'm like, first of all, I never said I wasn't fat. Still.
You're not.
Second of all, I feel good. And that's what I was aiming for. The video that you showed, there's a song that says like 30 years of, like, that's what the song is, 30 years of this, 30 years of that. Those ones get a lot of 30 years of McDonald's, 30 years of burgers. And some people just say 30 years of eating. And I'm like, yeah, if I didn't eat, I'd be dead. Like, of course.
Way to point out the obvious.
Be smarter with your criticism, please.
Yeah. And then when I started sharing my loose skin, there's a lot of vomit emojis and sick emojis. And then I think people who see the physical transformation for my weight and think like, oh, well, I can't comment on her weight because she changed that. And then they make fun of my face and say like, oh, when are you going to fix your face though? Or when are you going to lose weight in your nose? And they'll say anything. On a recent video, I got a lot that were like, you look sickly and unhealthy. You're a bag of bones. I'm like, I'm 182 pounds. I don't think anyone would call that a bag of bones.
You know, it is just sad because when people act that way, it's just a reflection of who they are and what they're maybe going through, and they're, you know, probably not living their best life. And so they're just finding a way to try and hurt someone else to make themselves feel better. So that's, I'm sure, how you think of it.
And I do. And yes, I continue to remind myself of that. Like, no one who genuinely loves and enjoys their life would ever be like, I'm going to comment this to this like, this person needs to know that I think they're fat. And like that, like, no, that's clearly coming from a place of not being totally happy with where you're at and wanting to bring others down. And so my whole platform is about uplifting people. And so when I feel mentally capable, I uplift them back, and I'll like go to their profile and find something about them and say like, you look great in blue, or like, you have a beautiful wife, or I hope you have a joyful day today. And honestly, like, it makes me feel so much better. Like, yes, I do want to be kind to them, but it makes me feel, it makes me be able to like actually let it go and just like, all right, I sent it back out and I'm done with
You're like releasing the negative energy.
Yes, yeah.
And then the positive comments come in, and it reminds you again why you're doing this.
Yes,
you can't
exactly.
let the negative kill the positive motion that you have going, because, you know, it's too powerful.
And
You're doing such great work.
Thank you. The positive far outweighs the negative, and it's just like it's such an interesting reminder how easy it is to focus on. Like if I got 100 positive comments with one negative one, and then that's what's ruminating in my mind all day. And so it's still like there's still so much mental work for me to do and mindset shifts and
Great practice.
It is. And yeah, I have grown a thicker skin, and I didn't think that was possible. Like for most of my life, I would describe myself as overly sensitive. I would say other people probably described me as that too. And I just thought like thick skin was something you were born with, and I was not born with it. But it turns out you can develop it, and it will, like anything worth having and being a part of you, it will take time, but it's worth it.
Do you feel like just exposing sort of your vulnerability is part of the process of developing thicker skin?
Oh, absolutely. That I feel like I still get scared to post sometimes. Even with a 200-pound loss, I will still look at videos and pictures sometimes and be like, do you think people will notice that much of a change? Like, I still talk myself through that all the time. So it still feels vulnerable, but even vulnerability has absolutely gotten easier. Exposure to anything is going to make it easier. Like so often we put off starting something until we feel ready. And most likely you're never going to feel ready, but you can do it, and it's going to be hard, and it's going to continue being hard, but it will get easier the more that you expose yourself to it.
Ash, you're really good at when I say dumb things, coming back with a good comment. So what would you, let's do a little workshopping here on the podcast where you can help Leah come up with a great comment for somebody that's like, somebody that says you're still fat.
Yeah.
What should she write back?
More to love. I don't know.
Oh, that's a good one. That was quick. Yeah.
I'm telling you, she's quick.
Yeah.
So what kind of work are you doing in terms of, so you're obviously sharing online.
Yes.
What is your Instagram handle? We'll put it in the show notes.
Leah Hope Health. So
Leah
that's
Hope Health.
Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube.
And you
all the
actually
things.
have a coaching thing too, right?
So I don't, as of right now, I have a natural weight loss guide that I sell that it goes into detail about the mindset shifts, finding your why, how to track calories, how to find a good calorie deficit for you.
Where can people find that?
You can find that at my website, leahhopehealth.com. And it is everything that I utilize, all the knowledge, inspiration, tools that were a part of making my weight loss possible. And I just poured my heart into creating this guide so that others could do it too. So that's what I have right now. Beautiful. I do plan to start a membership for an accountability group, because I think accountability is just such an important piece of reaching any goal that you have, but especially a health goal. And I fled from accountability my whole life because I wanted to give up when I wanted to. Like, I would start a diet and be like, I'm not going to tell anyone about it, because I knew that I wanted to give up. And I didn't want to be held accountable by anyone besides me. And I'm fine with disappointing myself. I'm not okay with disappointing other people.
This is like a really key thing that you just focused in on.
Yeah.
So when you started the program that worked,
Yeah.
you said you had an accountability partner.
An accountability partner.
Did you tell who was this person, and what did you tell them and when?
Yeah.
Sorry,
her name
I felt
is
like
Alicia.
a cop on that one.
Yeah.
It didn't mean to be that way.
Yeah.
So Alicia.
Yes, Alicia. She is I mentioned I'm a photographer. She is a photographer friend. And we mostly just talked about photography stuff, some Enneagram things. She's an Enneagram coach. And then somehow the same weekend, we both just randomly decided to be vulnerable with each other while in a Enneagram conversation. And I was like, I had this experience at Disneyland, and I decided I really want to take control of my health. She had an experience at the doctor that really scared her, and she said, I want to take control of my health. And so we just decided we're in this together, and we checked in. I really think it was every single day for at least a year, and talking about everything. Like, this is really hard for me. I'm scared to do this. And like, for me, it was a lot of like, I don't want to go to a gym. I walked in my backyard because I was too embarrassed to walk in public. Like, it took me a long time to get to a gym where other people could see me. I did a lot from home, but it was just anything that came up. That was my first experience of being vulnerable with this part of my life, which felt like the most vulnerable part of my life that I tried to hide as much as I could while recognizing I couldn't physically hide it, even though I thought that I was hiding it wearing like big sweaters and, you know, like selfie angles from really high. I'm like, no one can tell I'm 400 pounds. Like, I just, pretended like it wasn't a thing. And so I started being vulnerable with her, and that helped me continue to be vulnerable. I started talking about it with more people in my life, which I had never done before because I never wanted to bring attention to my weight or my health because I didn't want to be held accountable for it. But this time was different because I knew, like, this has to be it. I have to change my life. I cannot keep living this way. Like, this is getting scary. Like, I would go to sleep thinking I might not wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
And that feeling was just weighed so heavy on me. And I just knew this has to be the time. And so if I want my results to be different this time, then my actions are going to have to be different. And that includes sharing it with people and having people hold me accountable and being vulnerable.
And even just picking just one person to confide
Yes.
in. That
Yeah.
is this small step to take. And it falls right in line with the other things that you did, and why you have been so successful is that you weren't doing all or nothing. You weren't trying to be too extreme with anything. You just kind of started with baby steps.
Yes. Yeah. I think
even with that,
people are so scared to start small because it feels like you're not going to really see a significant change. And if you're not seeing a significant change, how are you going to stick to it? I get asked that all the time. Like, how did you stay motivated? And I just say, I didn't. Like, I did not stay motivated. Was I motivated to start? Yes. But motivation is a feeling and it's fleeting, and discipline is a choice. I see motivation as something that happens to you, and discipline is something that you choose to happen. And that makes all the difference.
Did your accountability partner, Alyssa, stick with it as well?
Alicia, yes.
Alicia, sorry.
So she...
Man, I got so close.
No, it's okay.
Alicia, I apologize.
She did. She lost weight, and she shared about this. She has a podcast where she talks about the Enneagram. She shared about her journey and wants to share more about it too. She did lose weight, I think maybe throughout that first year, and then she had some things come up in her life, and she did end up backtracking a little bit. And we have recently talked about how just like the difference between both of our journeys. And I think that a lot of it does come back to the all or nothing mindset. And she lost weight faster than me, but I think it wasn't entirely sustainable. And I lost weight slower in a way that I could sustain it. And even though what I loved about our relationship was like we had very different methods for how we wanted to get healthy and how we wanted to lose weight. Like, we didn't have to each be on this same specific eating plan and the same specific exercise routine and have the same philosophy about health. It really was just about like, hey, did you do what you planned to do today? Or like, are you having a hard time? Let's talk about it. Like, we didn't have to align completely in things that can somewhat be controversial. Like, we could sidestep that and be like, you know what? We're here for each other. We're here to encourage each other. We're here to seek encouragement from each other. And yeah, that accountability piece.
And that just speaks to, it doesn't have to be perfect. There's no such thing as perfect.
Yeah.
It's different for everyone. And making any change for the betterment of your health in whatever intuitive way you feel is right.
Yeah.
Is right.
Yes. And it will look different for everyone. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. Like, if I post my meals, what I eat in a day or something, someone will be like, oh, I don't eat this, that. I'm like, that's okay. Like, you can still,
swap it out.
Yeah, get healthier and lose weight without doing that. Yeah.
If you were to write a book about your story
Yes.
so far, and just come up with something,
Yes.
what title might you
Yes.
name it?
Well, I will say I do plan to write a book about my story. I want to share as much of it as possible with people. There is a title that I was thinking about for a little bit, but I think I went away from it. I'm a fan of like one-word titles, and something that I really liked was able, because for me, like it was just that word, that end of. Well, the word within itself, able, but to me, it was also like capable, vulnerable, sustainable, maintain. Like so many things came back to that able word. And I still love that. I still think that's a great name
That seems
for a
like
book.
something you should just have on your phone screen. So every time you pick it up, you're like, oh, yeah,
Able.
I'm able.
Yes. Yeah, because that's really what this has been about for me. Like I just wanted to be able to do the things that I wanted to do and not feel limited by the size of my body or the health of my body or the energy of my body. Like I just didn't want to be held back. And that is what I feel like I've gotten. Like I feel able and capable, and I'm living such a different life than
I mean,
was
you are
living before.
radiant. You like look healthy. You seem so happy. Like you've done all the hard work, and it really does seem like it's paid off. So congratulations.
Thank
and
you.
Thank you so much again for like sharing your story with all of us. I am feeling very encouraged just in my own life right now, just after this conversation. So
Yeah, I feel very able.
Good. You don't even have to read the book.
Patrick,
You just already, just the title is enough.
You know what? To be honest, I was just going to skim the back page anyways.
Yeah.
You know,
You're just gonna upload it to ChatGPT.
No, yeah,
Yes.
I was going to go to the
Give me the-
conclusion and
yeah.
say, okay, good, she did it.
Yeah. Did she lose the weight? I don't know. Yes.
Spoiler alert. Yes, she did.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. All right, one last question.
Yes.
Do you have a boyfriend now? Not that I'm asking because I'm married, happily married. But that was one of the things that kind of had a segue and an
'Cause
emotional
they talk about
connection there
having
that you're
crushes,
like,
yeah.
boys don't like me. So
Yeah.
is there a man in your life now?
There is not, but I did just recently get an email from someone asking if I wanted to play footsies. So it seems promising.
Is that still a thing?
Apparently, it's
That's
just
hilarious.
Wow.
I mean,
That was not what I was the way I thought you were going to go with that.
if you wanted to get attention, I don't know if that's good attention or not, but maybe it's worth a
that's
response.
that's one of the more mild emails. No, I do.
Oh,
I do.
goodness. Oh,
I do.
goodness.
Yeah, I have the attention now, but now I'm also. Back then, I just wanted the attention as a way to tell myself that I'm worthy or valuable, and now I tell myself that. And so I do want a boyfriend that turns into a husband, but I want a true partnership, and I have high standards because I have a lot of love to give. And
Yeah.
so
As you should.
I won't be settling, but I'm looking for opportunities to explore that.
Ladies and gentlemen, she's available. She's
Yeah, open to
available.
receive,
Well,
yeah.
the
Yes.
energy that you brought in here to the studio, the energy that you carry with you, you are going to attract someone that is your perfect soulmate.
Thank you. And yes, we'll play footsies together for the rest of our lives.
I love it.
All right, wrap it up. Sorry.
All right.
Sorry I went there. We can decide to cut this out later, but yeah, I had to ask. I thought
Yes.
it seemed like it would be a
Yeah.
good way to tie the bow on that. You
I
want to wrap
love
us
it.
up?
Yeah. Thanks again, Leah. This was so much fun. And congratulations on everything you have going. Cannot wait to read the book if and when it happens. And we'll be following along online.
It sounds great. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed being here.